mushrooms heal depression and anxiety. We often think of a cure as being like the end of the road, right? The answer, the conclusion, the solution. And while psychedelics do offer healing, and they do offer us opportunity to grow and transform and improve our lives in so many different ways, it's not so much about reaching a destination as it is about achieving a way of being, a state of being, a way of existing in the world. We call it doing the work, but when you do the work for long enough, it's about really being the work. Welcome to Modern Psychedelics, where we explore the transformations made possible through intentional engagement with psychedelics. This podcast will help you integrate high consciousness living into the everyday and deepen the work ignited by altered states. You can expect balanced and grounded conversations around therapeutic, ceremonial, and recreational containers. My name is Lana Pribic, your host and guide. I am a 3-time certified professional life coach, and I work with people who want to integrate higher levels of consciousness into their daily lives so they can feel more peace, fulfillment, and connection. After all, our time here on Earth is so brief, so let's make sure we're really living. The song you hear is called Lost Horizon by Peace Sign. All right, let's journey. All right, we all know that after a deep psychedelic journey, integration is key. And for me, that's where Kana comes in. It's a gentle, psychoactive daily ally that supports emotional balance, energy, and cognitive clarity. Kana is the flower of a succulent that grows in South Africa, and it's traditionally used by indigenous communities like the Khoi and San people for mood enhancement, stress relief, and spiritual practices. So Kana is an empathogen, meaning it enhances feelings of connection, open-heartedness, and calm. Some call it nature's MDMA, but it's also been well researched by a pharmaceutical company called Zembrin, showing that some of its active alkaloids are beneficial for managing symptoms of anxiety and depression. The felt effect you will feel from Kana is similar to a psychedelic microdose. And while Kana is psychoactive, it's not psychedelic, meaning that it's completely legal in North America. But most of the Kana that you'll find out there is table grade, meaning that it lacks a potent enough alkaloid profile that will actually create that felt effect. Kana was a game changer during my really intense 5-MeO DMT integration. It helped me to stay grounded and energized while navigating some profound paradigm shifts and bringing them into my daily life. It was also an inspiring support for my mom, surprisingly enough, in managing her lifelong anxiety, which is why we decided together to start Kana Wellness as a family business. We are so proud to share that Kana Wellness is the first Canadian Kana company. So if you want to experience the benefits and the gentle love from Kana for yourself, visit kanawellness.com. And I have a code for my Modern Psychedelics family. It's Lana, Lana, and that'll save you 10% off your first order. We're currently shipping across Canada. And for our US friends, hang tight. We're working on bringing Kana Wellness to you as well. So links will be in the show notes for you. That's kanawellness.com, Kanna, and use Lana, Lana at checkout for 10% off. All right, Kana Lana signing off. Let's get back to the episode. So if you do like a Google search about psychedelics and psychedelic experiences, you will probably come to the conclusion that psychedelics are pretty romanticized. There's a lot of very big claims that are being made about psychedelics and how effective they are and how they heal you and how they fix everything and all of this stuff. And I think that that's okay because it is that narrative that leads us into this work a lot of the time. I also think that we need to have some more nuanced and serious conversations about the reality of engaging in psychedelic work. The truth is that what's out there about psychedelics, especially trip reports, are such a small, tiny sliver of what's actually going on. And this is why I love podcasting. And I have been podcasting about psychedelics and sharing my experiences with psychedelics for 4 years now. This is why I love to do it in this way, because I am learning in public with you. I am sharing everything that I am learning in real time with you. And so this narrative that psychedelics are the be all, the end all, I've heard people call certain medicines miracles, that they are this like panacea, this thing that will just fix everything. And that really comes from a certain type of thinking about life, which we are going to talk about today. So it can take really years of being on this path to see the dark, the ugly, the unsexy, the messy side of psychedelics. And in this episode, I want to explore that. I want to explore some of these uncomfortable truths about psychedelics. And I really want to balance out the conversation with some grounded, real world insights. And these insights are from, of course, my experiences, but also I'm in a position where I speak to a lot of people about psychedelics. A lot of people email me, my clients, I'm just constantly surrounded by people telling me about their experiences with psychedelics. And so a lot of what I'm sharing with you today is from my experiences and also just like what I've noticed the narrative tends to be around these medicines. So let's get into some hard truths about psychedelics that you need to hear. Okay, so the first truth is that it's not about the substance. All this talk about psychedelics, and it's actually not about the psychedelics. Psychedelics are a path. They're not a destination or a cure. Okay. So I really want to ground this episode in with this point and just start here, because this work is not just about taking a substance and getting high and coming out on the other side being transformed. This is a path. This is a way of life. For me, this is a spiritual path. This is a way of self-discovery, of healing, of transformation. And when we think of something as like a cure, like are psychedelics the cure for depression? There seems to be a narrative like that in the more clinical and therapeutic applications of psychedelics. Can, mushrooms heal depression and anxiety? We often think of a cure as being like the end of the road, right? The answer, the conclusion, the solution. And while psychedelics do offer healing and they do offer us opportunity to grow and transform and to just improve our lives in so many different ways, it's really not about reaching a destination. It's more about being on the path. At least if you really want to get the most out of your psychedelic work, it really is about being on the path. And it's not so much about reaching a destination as it is about achieving a way of being, a state of being, a way of existing in the world. This really is about, we call it doing the work, but when you do the work for long enough, it's about really being the work. Yeah, that's really what it is. We really need to accept as a society at large that psychedelics are not a quick fix. They are not a one-time solution. They are not a single ceremony. Psychedelics offer a doorway to a lifelong journey of self-discovery and healing. And I just want to be really clear about that, because I feel like if more people knew that, they would maybe be more excited about it and it would help balance out their expectations. But also maybe if more people knew that, they wouldn't do psychedelics. Maybe people aren't looking for a doorway to a lifelong journey of self-discovery and healing. Maybe people are looking for a quick fix, which I don't know. I haven't seen a quick fix that actually works. So you guys let me know if there is one. Yeah, people are often like focusing on the trip itself, but the real work is about how you show up to life afterwards. And how you show up for life depends on how you show up for yourself. That is why this path is an internal path. It's about how you engage with life, how you grow in openness, curiosity, love, trust. And on the same note, like psychedelics also open you up to seeing the world differently, but they don't make the changes. Just because you see differently and your perception has changed doesn't mean that things actually change. You got to do the work. With a change in perspective, it's up to you to embody and live in that changed perspective. I do think that psychedelics have a unique ability of giving us new perspectives that are so profound that we actually can't ignore them. And I don't think everyone's ready for that. If you learn that love is the most important thing, right? So many of us on this path have learned and come to find that love really is it. It's an inclination that I had ever since I was young and started thinking about spirituality. But if you learn that love is the most important thing, then how does that show up in your life? What changes need to happen in order to live in alignment with that change in perspective? What changes need to happen to align with this new truth that you have discovered? So as we make these changes and do the integration work, which I'm going to talk about next, we realize there's really no end. there's always a deeper layer to explore. And while this may sound daunting to some people, I personally find it really exciting. And I've reached a place now where I find it really exciting. But there has definitely been times in the early years where I completely wanted to quit and give up. So don't give up, keep going. It's about the path and the journey and not about the destination. Maybe the destination is you. Okay, let's talk about this idea that prep and integration are more important than the journey. A lot more people are talking about this. I think that in the last 2 years or so, there has been a greater focus on prep and integration, and we're seeing more and more focus on it, which is great. Thumbs up for that. But the work happens before and after the trip. Think about it. The trip happens. And in many ways, you can't really control what happens during the trip, right? When you sign on to do psychedelics, you're kind of signing on to leap into the unknown. And you can't really control what happens during that trip, but you can control your prep and your integration process. And I'm using the word control very lightly in terms of not control, but in terms of something that you can actually have such a profound impact on is the prep and integration process. So in this way, prep and integration are the most important, right? Signing up for psychedelics means that you're signing up for the process of prep and integration as a lifelong practice, because this is the truth, you guys. You don't know what you're going to come to learn with psychedelics. And the deeper you get and the higher the doses get and the stronger the medicines get, you just don't know what you're going to come to. You don't know what you're going to unearth. You don't know what truth is going to come into your life that you are not going to be able to ignore. You don't know how it will impact you for possibly the rest of your life, right? You have to be ready for a shift in paradigm and a shift in the way that you experience life. And that shift can be so profound that it can take a lifetime to integrate that. And I feel like I've heard people talk about this before and it didn't really land for me, but now this has really landed for me because of my 5-MeO experience. And I'm sorry if you guys are like so sick of hearing me talk about my 5-MeO experience, but it really was truly profound. And I'm going to do a 1-year update. But yeah, after that experience, I kind of like understood all this talk about everything I'm talking about today. You can have a shift in perspective that is so profound that it truly will take an entire life to integrate it. Like you might be integrating certain aspects until the day that you die. Right? So by signing on to do psychedelics, you're signing on for the prep and integration process. And this is really the important work. A successful psychedelic journey is going to start with intentional preparation, guided preparation. This includes, mindset, environment, setting clear intentions, all that good stuff. But it also means making space on the inside. It means making space on the inside and the outside for the process of transformation. It means preparing yourself to hold yourself through the process of transformation. It means setting up whatever you need to set up, instilling support, making sure that there is someone there to catch you and to be there for you, because this work is big. This work is big. And so we want support and integration. Integration is where the magic happens. Integration is where we really feel the benefits, where we feel the changes, where we feel the shifts. It's also where we make these things happen. Integration is about taking the insights and the truths that you gain from your experience and living in alignment with them, making changes in your life so that you can live in alignment to the truth that you now know to be true in your heart. So I have so many episodes on integration that you guys can explore in the catalog. Literally just type integration in anywhere that you listen to modern psychedelics and you'll see so many episodes there. Also on the website, if you go to the website, modernpsychedelics.net/podcast, you can click on integration as a topic and just see all of them there. Without integration, this doesn't work, right? Without integration, this is just tripping and having fun and not shitting on that. I love that. I'm all for it. I love doing psychedelic drugs just for fun. So do not think that I'm judging that, because I absolutely am not. But yeah, to do the work and to use psychedelics in a way to facilitate growth, healing, transformation, and just the life of your dreams that you never could have even imagined, right? Without translating these experiences into the real world, into the everyday, right? It's not really going to mean much. It's not going to do much. Integration is a way of life. It's a part of walking this path. Earlier, I said that psychedelics are a path. Integration is a very important aspect of being on that path. Okay, let's go to harsh truth number 3. Oof. Science is not the be all end all of psychedelics. And in fact, this path is inherently spiritual. While science has proven, some healing and therapeutic benefits of psychedelics, this path is just deeply spiritual and becomes even more deeply spiritual the longer that you are on it. And that's because it's about connecting with something larger than yourself. When I say spiritual, I don't mean religious. I don't mean dogmatic. I mean, it's literally a direct connection to something greater than yourself, whether it's your highest self, nature, Mother Earth, God, whatever that means to you, the universe, universal love consciousness, source energy. Psychedelics give us a direct line to these expanded states where we can experience life outside of the ego and outside of ourselves. And so while science is working hard to understand these mechanisms and understand ego dissolution from a scientific lens, and I think it's incredibly valid and incredibly useful to have the science. I don't think that we can actually move forward with integrating psychedelics into society without science. I really don't. But there's a side of walking the psychedelic path, the medicine path, that is inherently spiritual. And with that, some people struggle with that. Some people struggle with the mystical, ineffable parts of psychedelics, especially when they want to try to fit everything into a scientific framework, right? I know people who identify as scientific materialists or ex-scientific materialists who take psychedelics, and, the paradigm that they were operating within was limiting their experience of life. It was limiting the entire expression of what life is all about and what it means to be human. And so psychedelic experiences have this tendency to awaken a connection to something greater, to nature, any of the things I said earlier, nature, universal love, your higher self. And that is something that cannot be measured, quantified, or even fully understood. There's an ineffable nature to psychedelics that can only truly be experienced. And as soon as the mind starts to try to make sense of it and try to put it into words, the experience almost becomes distant, right? And so the spiritual aspect of psychedelics requires trust, openness, surrender, something that is so far beyond logic and research. It requires us to see the nuance, to lean into the mystery, and to trust our heart more than our mind. There's a very beautiful sentiment that says, the longest journey you will ever take is from your head to the heart. I remember my first ayahuasca ceremony like 5 years ago or so, and the shamanic guide said that. And I was like, wow, that's so true. And it truly has been just a path of walking the journey from the head to the heart. And psychedelics offer us a path to this journey. Expanded states of consciousness offer us a path to take this journey from the head to the heart. And so that is my harsh truth that some of you are probably not going to like. It is that science cannot fully explain or capture psychedelics. Yeah, let's move on from that one. Harsh truth number 4 is that psychedelics will show you what you don't want to see. Healing can be uncomfortable. Healing can be deeply uncomfortable, especially at the beginning, especially before you are comfortable with the discomfort. And that's okay. And the more you lean into your discomfort, the more you'll grow. You're not going to grow unless you're constantly chasing your growth edge. The unknown is the growth edge, right? There's no growth to happen in spaces that are known and familiar and that we've already mastered. And so psychedelics will often show us the things that we don't want to see. That can be traumas. We can have an awareness of how we have been carrying grief or sadness in our bodies or any other emotion that we haven't processed, right? We can come face to face with truths about ourselves that we may have buried long ago. And this process can be painful. It can be emotionally intense, and it can be overwhelming. And there's just no guarantee that engaging with psychedelics is going to be pleasant. But sometimes Sometimes we will also uncover beautiful, loving parts of ourselves, the golden shadow, if you will. These parts of ourselves that we also don't want to see, that for some reason we're shoving away, that for some reason we have not been ready to claim. There's this power and this beauty and this expression inside of you that is also stagnant. And some of us don't want to see that either. And so this is some of the nuance of the psychedelic path that I'm talking about. If you have been feeling low on energy, sluggish, or just out of balance, I have something to share with you. It's a natural solution that's been used for centuries, Shilajit. You may have seen this black tar-like supplement all over the internet these days, and that's for good reason. I personally started using natural Shilajit this summer, and let me tell you, the energy boost is quite impressive. And that's because Shilajit resin is a naturally occurring substance that is found high in the Altai Mountains, and it's formed over centuries by a gradual decomposition of certain plants and by the action of microorganisms. This stuff truly comes directly from nature. Shilajit is an incredible Ayurvedic supplement. It's packed with over 80 minerals and fulvic acid, which helps to detoxify the body, support hormonal balance, and enhance nutrient absorption, amongst a plethora of other benefits. Not only have I noticed an increase in my energy levels, but even my menstrual symptoms have become almost non-existent. I noticed that when I take the Shilajit more consistently, my body does not get the cramps and the PMS symptoms that I usually do. So my go-to way of using Shilajit is I mix the natural Shilajit Nutri honey in my decaf coffee every morning. And I like that the honey just adds a little bit of sweetness. I personally love natural Shilajit because they are known for their premium quality Shilajit, which is rigorously tested, contaminant-free resin sourced from the pristine Altai Mountains. If you want to naturally increase your intake of vitamins and minerals and really feel these benefits, head over to naturalshilajit.com and use the code LANA10OFF to get 10% off your first order. That's Natural Shilajit, SHILAJIT.com, and Lana, LANA, 10 off to get 10% off your first order. I've linked that all for you in the show notes. Thank you so much to Natural Shilajit for sponsoring today's show. Let's get back to the episode. So let's go back to this discomfort, right? This discomfort is necessary. It is required to become uncomfortable in order to heal, breaking down old patterns to make way for new ones, old behaviors to make way for new ones, old thoughts, perspectives, and beliefs to make way for new ones. And this process of transforming the old into the new, the unsupportive into the supportive, the hate into the love, blind spots into awareness. Yeah, it's not easy. And as you learn to relax into yourself, you'll just be more open to finding what's inside, and that process becomes easier. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling just awkward and weird, just know that it's a normal part of the process and that it does get easier. You're just in the stage of learning to get comfortable with your discomfort, right? A lot of us will feel uncomfortable and want to run away from the discomfort, and our protectors will come up and, we'll just do anything to avoid the discomfort, hence all the coping mechanisms that we all have. And with psychedelics, we're going to, see these parts of ourselves and these behaviors and these beliefs and these perspectives and, these things that we've taken to be true that are going to be really uncomfortable to release and transform. And the psychedelics themselves don't offer instant relief from these challenges. Rather, they're going to bring them to light and bring them to the surface so that you can face them and work through them. It's going to bring those difficult emotions to the surface so that you can finally feel them and therefore release them and let them move on, and therefore create space inside of you for something new. Okay. So working through this can be a long and hard process, and just sending my love and sentiments to anyone who's really in the middle of this right now, because I know that it can be very challenging, but I promise it gets better. And this leads me to my next point. Psychedelics are not a quick fix. Healing takes time. In fact, healing is not going to be a quick fix. There's no quick fix to healing. There's no shortcut, and psychedelics are not a shortcut either. I really want to make that clear. People often expect quick, dramatic transformations, but healing with psychedelics is usually a long-term process, like years and years and years. And so this is work. This is hard work. It's emotional processing. It's constantly reflecting and refining and attuning your awareness of yourself and of the world. It's dealing with emotions as they come up and making space for yourself to feel. It's taking an ongoing inventory of your lifestyle, your habits, your thoughts, your relationships. It's hard fucking work. And psychedelics might accelerate certain insights. They might accelerate your growth, but integrating these insights takes time and consistent effort. And integration is not about perfection. It's about progress. I think this is one of the first lessons we all need to learn on our healing journey is that, wow, there really is no quick fix. Patience is the key because there's no finish line in healing. There's only continued growth because to heal means that there is a pain to heal, and to live is to experience pain. To be a human is to go through painful emotions throughout life. And so in that way, there's always going to be something to heal and something to release and something to let go of and something to transform. And you might experience frustration if you expect instant results. So if that's you, just give yourself grace and space to heal at your own pace. There's no rush. And know that in engaging in this work, you're creating a new potential for your future. There's this Bwiti wisdom that says, let me actually dig it up. It feels very relevant here. Bwiti is the tradition that holds the Iboga medicine, and they have a set of like principles and truths about life that help you just live a very happy and simple life. And one of them is that we can never change the past. The past is over. Stay present. The present moment determines our future, okay? So by going through this challenging, long and hard process of healing, you are creating your future. Okay. Truth number 6 that you probably don't want to hear is that not everyone is ready for psychedelics. And on that note, not every time is the time for psychedelics. Psychedelics aren't for everyone, and timing is key, right? Psychedelics can be very destabilizing for those not mentally or emotionally prepared. And timing and personal readiness are also crucial. How do you know that you're ready? I think I did an episode on that. I will link it in the show notes. I think it's called something like Signs That You're Ready to Go Deeper with Psychedelics. It really is a personal journey of determining whether you are ready to do this work. Psychedelics can make things worse sometimes, right? I think there's like pressure in certain circles to try psychedelics. They're like very vogue right now. They're very cool right now. And I think that pressure is just, I think pressure is never a good thing. I don't think it's good to pressure anyone into anything, but especially into psychedelics, where someone can be put into an expanded state of consciousness that they might not be ready for and that they might not have context for. And yeah, that poor person will have to go back and make sense of something that they weren't even expecting a little bit. And I have met people who have gone through this, people who have been like, oh yeah, let me just try this. And then bam, they're like connected with God and they're like, what the fuck was that? I'm atheist. We need to make sure that we are ready for psychedelics and really treat this as our own personal path. Psychedelics are not something that should be prescribed, which is another reason why I don't think that they will necessarily work very well in the clinical model. It's a very personal decision to engage in psychedelic work. And just because psychedelics are not for everyone, like that's okay. I'm kind of comparing this to like trends in the fashion world. I love fashion and style, and that's something that I've been becoming more and more passionate about and just like allowing myself to explore these days. And so comparing it to a trend, right? Psychedelics are very trendy right now in the wellness world, but it's, what if these like platform sandals are really trendy, but I hate platform sandals, and platform sandals make me walk funny. And I don't want to wear platform sandals, but like everyone's wearing platform sandals, so I feel like I need to. It's kind of like that. And I think we need to really remove that energy from psychedelics and really just be mindful, not to pressure other people, and to allow ourselves and the people around us to determine when they are ready. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it'll work for you. So really, truly just honor your own path and your own pace. And the last point here, I actually want to do a full episode on this. So this is just going to be a teaser because I have a lot of thoughts about this. But harsh truth number 7 is that psychedelics can make things worse before they make them better. Sometimes the storm comes before the calm. It's always darkest before the dawn. Yeah, psychedelics can unearth buried trauma, unresolved emotions, or other aspects of the psyche that haven't been fully addressed, that haven't been fully integrated. And this can lead to an initial period of emotional or mental distress. So what's happening there is that as this stuff comes up, we actually start feeling worse, right? We're feeling the pain that's been buried. We're feeling the grief that's been buried. We're feeling the pain and the grief and the sadness and the resentment and the anger that has been buried deep down inside. And so we're feeling all these things. And of course, we're feeling even worse because at least before they were buried, but now they're at the surface and we actually have to feel them and deal with them. So we wonder if we're doing something wrong. We wonder, aren't I supposed to be feeling better? This isn't working. The psychedelics aren't working. I feel worse than better. The amount of times I have heard people say this in circles. Wow. Yeah, this is a natural part of the process. And it's something that we need to be prepared for. And I actually don't see a lot of education around this, which is why I am going to do a full podcast episode about this. It might even be the next solo. This is a natural part of the process. And in fact, part of preparing for psychedelics, if you're a facilitator or a guide, I really hope that you're prepping your clients and your journeyers to possibly feel worse before they feel better. It's not uncommon for people to feel worse after a psychedelic experience and before they start reaping the benefits. And also, people can feel worse for years. I remember when I was really deep in the ayahuasca work, which was a lot of my work was done in those years, right? I stepped back from everything. I stepped back from friendships, from work, from fashion, and just looking presentable and caring about that. I stepped back from dating, from going out. This work was my work. And that's because it was just so intense that I needed the space to hold it. And it was messy and overwhelming. And it can be messy and overwhelming. And I think that people need to know that. And I think people need to know that this is a natural part of the process of confronting painful truths. And we also need to be talking about the fact that psychedelics don't shy away from showing you what you need to work on. Once you're in there and you're in the medicine and you're in the journey and you're surrendered, you don't know what's going to happen, right? You might be shown your work. You might be shown your blind spots, the ways that you are holding yourself back from fully experiencing life. We all have these goals and dreams and aspirations and these intentions for what we want to feel. And then we're I'm asking for you to show me the love of my life. Why are you showing me this pain inside of me? It's that pain that's blocking you from that. And so we have to go through the pain in order to come out on the other side. Wow. I'm finding that I'm really passionate about this as I'm speaking about it. I wonder if you can hear, I'm jamming my pen on the blanket in front of me here. But yeah, this is something that needs more light. So this discomfort that I talked about in the previous point, this pain, this feeling of things are getting worse, it's actually a crucial part of the healing journey. It's a phase, it's a step, it's a segment of the path. It's the forest you have to walk through on the path. You're being asked to confront and face these difficult parts of yourself in order to move forward. Know that the only way out is through. And I've known this forever. I've known this since I was an emo teenager. But the depth of this truth has landed for me so much over my work with psychedelics. And know that you don't have to do this alone. It's your path, but you can also enlist support on your path. It's essential to have support systems in place, therapy, coaching, community, yoga, whatever your practices are that can support you. And, hopefully there are people also who can support you so that you don't have to do it alone. But once you get to the other side, once you clear the space inside of you that was holding all that pain, you will be open to live freely without your burdens. And so those are my 7 harsh truths about psychedelics that I think we need to be talking about more. I'm curious which ones resonated with you, which ones surprised you. What did I miss? What is a harsh truth about psychedelics that you think people need to know about? Come and comment on the Modern Psychedelics Instagram page and let me know. Perhaps it will inspire a new episode for me. In closing, even though all of these things are true, right? That it's not about the substance, that preparation and integration are where the work happens, that science isn't the be all end all of psychedelics, that psychedelics will show you what you don't want to see, that they're not a quick fix and that healing takes time, that not everyone is ready for psychedelics, and that psychedelics can make things worse before they make things better. Even though all of these things are true, there's honestly no path I'd rather be walking, and there's nothing I would rather commit myself to than this work. And for me, psychedelics have been a beautiful path of healing, awakening, consciousness expansion. They've been a road back to love. They've been a road back to myself. They've been a road to God. They've been a road to beauty and connection with the earth. And they've also helped me embrace the messiness of the human experience. And I'm so grateful for them. And it hasn't been easy. Psychedelics really allow us to connect and to feel more alive, right? Sometimes like when I'm processing something so painful and difficult, it's like I'm crying so much and it hurts so much and it's so painful, but I also feel so alive because in feeling that deeply, it's like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing as a human being. Like we are meant to feel and to experience life through our feelings just as much as our mind. So yeah, I just feel so passionate about this work. This is our evolutionary work as a species to expand our consciousness, to come back to the heart and to come back together as a human family. And I really see that psychedelics, the medicine path, and committing oneself to this path, wow, they can be just deeply beneficial for the human species and for our planet. And so for me, it really is about the bigger picture. I hope that this episode helped you really understand with more detail and nuance what we mean when we say that while psychedelics are incredibly healing and powerful tools for transformation, they definitely come with challenges and require commitment and discipline and readiness. And while some of these truths may have been difficult for some of you to hear, they are essential for anyone serious about using psychedelics as a part of their healing and growth journey. And so with that, I'm going to invite anyone who is listening and who wants to work with me as their coach, work with me as their facilitator of transformation. I'm going to invite you to connect with me and apply for my coaching container. My coaching program is a 6-month deep dive into your consciousness and your energetic profile, your energetic stress reaction, how you experience life through the lens of energy and consciousness, and how can we integrate the psychedelic way and the psychedelic state and get you living from a place that is aligned with your purpose and your mission and what you believe to be important in life, and help you to access just more flow and ease and peace and acceptance and love. That's really what it is all about. So this is my work that I do. I am a facilitator of transformation. And right now I am doing that through my coaching and ever expanding my skill set to support you. So if you're looking for a psychedelically informed life coach, get in touch with me. It's modernpsychedelics.net/apply. I would love to hear from you and support you on this messy but beautiful sacred path. I'm sending you a big hug and lots of love. If you enjoy this episode, please share it. I really think that this is an episode that needs to be shared. So please share it. Please share it on social media. Let's change the narrative and orient the conversation around psychedelics to one that is more nuanced and just more accurate of how challenging but also beautiful this work can be. All right, guys, catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to and supporting the show. To stay in touch, sign up for my mailing list, which can be found in the show notes or on modernpsychedelics.net. If this episode sparked something within, please let me know by leaving a review of the Modern Psychedelics podcast on Apple and Spotify. This really helps to share these messages with those who need them, which is the whole reason why I do what I do. And if you haven't already, come join the ongoing conversation over on Instagram with other beautiful souls. We have an incredible and conscious community over at the handle Modern Psychedelics. And don't forget that the work begins after you come back down to earth. And I'm standing shoulder to shoulder, doing it with you.